All right, hello YouTube. Happy Halloween. Um, so today, I thought I would do something a little different today. I thought I would change things up, and because it's Halloween, I thought in today's video I would just do the top 5 horror movies that I absolutely cannot wait for in 2026. Yes, I know that obviously, yes, I know um 2025 isn't over yet, but but because again, because it's Halloween, um and because there are so many good horror movies coming out next year, I just thought I would do I just thought I would do a video on the top 5 horror movies that I just absolutely cannot wait for. If you if you watch my channel, uh you know that I am a massive horror fan, as you can probably tell by my shirt. Uh, you probably can't see it, but or you probably can't tell, but it's The Exorcist. So yes, so I am a huge horror fan. Um, and yeah, so let's get started. Number one, number one is gonna be Scream 7. Now, I am a massive, 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 massive Scream fan. Um, I am such a huge Scream fan. Speaking of Scream, um, I have this, and then I have this coaster here. So you could probably tell that I am a massive Scream fan. Um, and the trailer dropped the trailer, I believe it just dropped today, actually, for Scream 7. And I am so friggin' excited for this movie. Again, I'm a massive Scream fan. Matthew Lillard is actually returning as Stu Macher. Yes, Stu Macher is alive. That was confirmed by Kevin Williamson. By Scream boss Kevin Williamson, and Kevin Williamson is actually directing this one. Which I got very, 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 very excited for very, very, very quickly. Um, this movie actually went through quite a bit. Actually, Christopher Landon was uh, was attached to do Scream 7 at one point. He ended up leaving the movie after what's his name after what are their names? Matt. The guys that did 5 and 6. Matt, I'm gonna look that up actually because this is gonna drive me crazy now. Um, um, Sorry guys, 1 second. Let me pull this up. Um, okay, yep. Tyler Gillett and Matt Bettinelli Oakland, or no, I pronounced that wrong. Open. Um, yeah, so those are the guys that did 5 and 6. They are not coming back. Obviously, to do this, to do 7. Kevin Williamson is doing it, but uh, but the writers who wrote 5 and 6 are coming back for this one. Um, and another thing, another hellish development process that this movie, you know, um, that this movie went through is both. Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega ended up leaving. And they literally fired Melissa Barrera for no reason at all. From what I understand, she, uh, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna dwell on this because just because, I don't want to waste people's time. But basically, what happened was they fired her. Basically, if you're interested, you guys can, look it up for yourselves and, and see like why she was fired. But they literally fired her for no reason. Basically, I think there was like a war or something going on, um, in another country, and she came out in support of, of the people, uh you, she came out in support of all, of all the people that were struggling, over there in, whatever country that was. I don't remember. Um, and then they fired her for no reason at all. Basically, they fired her for basically valuing human life. Um, and then Jenna Ortega ended up leaving, um, because basically because they fired Melissa, and she basically said, well, if Melissa's leaving, then, then I'm leaving too. So, um, but Nev Campbell, of course, is back, for Scream 7. I am a little skeptical about Nev Campbell, coming back. And you guys are probably saying, why are you skeptical? If you're such a huge fan and blah blah blah. Well, my only reason, my only issue with it is I was very, very, very happy with how they ended the Sydney, the Cindy Prescott storyline. They, she got over her trauma, she had a family, she moved on with her life. They gave her, they gave her a happy ending. And so to bring her back, so to bring her back is kind of like, on a, so to bring her back on a franchise that, that technically doesn't really need it, that technically doesn't really need it, because Scream is really a franchise, is really, Scream, the Scream, franchise as a whole has stayed pretty consistent. Has stayed, pretty consistent. 5 and 6, 5 and 6 were very, very well received critically and commercially. Um, and and to bring her back, it just kind of feels like you're undoing what, like what they already set up. But her daughter, but this time around, actually, she has a daughter. Um, and her daughter's going to be in the movie. So I am very, very, very interested to see, how this plays out. And again, I'm such a huge fan of the franchise. It's my favorite horror franchise. Um, but the movie comes out in February. So I am very, 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 very excited, to see that movie, and you can definitely bet that I will be rushing to the theater to see it. My next movie on the list is, excuse me, sorry, is Zach Kreger's Resident Evil movie. Now, this one I'm a little on the fence about, because while yes, Zach Kreger is, a fantastic director, um and I know this is going to sound really, really bizarre and probably not make sense to a lot of people, but I am not really a fan of Zach's movies. I didn't really care for Weapons. I didn't, I didn't really care for Weapons. It was a brilliant concept. Like the concept of Weapons was a brilliant concept. Like all these kids, coming out at, at 2:17 in the morning, and then, and something happens, and all of a sudden they just, like all disappeared, like great concept. But however, I just felt like, the execution just wasn't the best, in my opinion. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but and hey, if you enjoyed the movie, more power to you. That's fine. It just wasn't, um, the movie just wasn't for me. Um, but his Resident Evil movie, and from what I understand, Zach Kreger is a huge, 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 huge Resident Evil fan. Um, when talking about the movie, he said it is more in line. When talking about the movie, he said that he's actually played 4 the most, and obviously that's, considering, the original, Resident Evil 4 is considered obvi- is obviously considered, one of the greatest games ever made, and obviously made, Resident Evil, what it is today. Um, he said that he is not, Zach said he is not looking to do, he's looking to do something, that's never been done. Um, he said he has never seen, I'm pretty sure he hasn't seen any of the previous adaptations, and he said that he's not going to be pulling, from like any of the movies. My my only issue with this is he's doing an original story, but is still looking to, he says that he's going to do an original story, like the characters aren't going to be, from any of the games, which I can understand why that would turn a lot of people off. In all honesty, I'm kind of on the fence about it as well. Um, but he said that he is going to do something. He's going to do something, that feels, fresh and new, but at the same time, he's still going to, he's still going to, he's still going to, respect the lore, respect the source material. Because remember, because I think what people have to keep in mind here is, I think what people have to keep in mind here is Zach is it is, Zach is just as much of a fan as I am. He's just as much of a fan as, thousands of fans, uh, are out there of the franchise. But he said that it's going to be more in line with, I think I think his words were, his movie is going to, I think he said is going to take place in between 2 and 3, but is going to be and but is going to be a lot more in line with Resident Evil 4. And and in all honesty, that has me really, really intrigued. Um, and he also said, when he was first talking about it, he also said that he wants to capture, like that survival, horror feeling, that feeling that the player has, when you're low on ammunition, and there's something really, really bad, you know, um, and there's something, really, really bad, waiting for you around the corner. So he wants to capture that feeling. And let's be honest, none of the other Resident Evil adaptations have done that. I mean, I've never seen any of the previous, I've seen the animated movies. The animated movies are fantastic. Anybody here, who's a Resident Evil fan who hasn't seen those, do check those out because those are phenomenal. Um, But but I have never seen any of the live action films. Um, but that movie also comes out next year. That movie comes out sometime in September. Now, the next movie is and this will be the first movie to come out next year, actually. Return to Silent Hill. Now, this movie this movie, yeah, this movie, I'm gonna say, is for people like myself. And what I mean by that is, and what I mean by that is this movie looks like it's gonna be made for the fans, because this movie looks very much like a fan film. Um, it looks it looks very, very faithful to Resident Evil 2. Let's put it that way. Pyramid Head is in there. Excuse me. Pyramid Head is in there. Um, and from what I understand, they are looking to keep this film as true to, the Silent Hill. They are looking to keep this, as faithful to. Sorry, guys, I can't talk today. As faithful of an adaptation of Silent Hill 2 as possible. And I don't think we even have an official trailer yet. I think we only have like a 50-second, like a 50-second teaser trailer. Um, but it does look very, I will tell you right now, from the little clips that I've seen, I think there were like two teasers that were that dropped. I will say that from those clips alone, it does look very, very faithful to Silent Hill 2, to the game, and to, the overall concept of the game. It does look like it's going to be a movie, just for the fans. I don't think it's going to do well critically. Um, I don't think it's going to do well critically. I mean, obviously, I hope to be proven wrong. Um, but I'm getting that really, really nagging suspicion that this movie, is just going to be for the fans, because because this movie, it kind of does look cheap, in a sense, in a sense, and it does, again, it looks like a fan film. Um, but I am a fan, obviously, of Silent Hill 2. Um, so I will definitely be seeing this in January when it comes out. My next movie. Um, what are we at? Number 4 now? Um, my next movie is Terrifier 4. So this has already been confirmed to be the last chapter in the Terrifier series. Damien Leone has already confirmed that this is going to be the final chapter, in the franchise. Everybody's coming back, for the final round. David Howard Thornton, the actress who plays Sienna. I don't remember her name at the moment. Um, as well as the girl that plays Gabby. Um, Not a whole lot is known about Terrifier 4 right now. Um, but if I had, not a lot is known about Terrifier 4 right now, other than the fact that it is confirmed to be the last one. Um, but Damien Leone has obviously said, questions, will be answered, obviously, with this being, the last movie in the franchise. Um, but just to recap, the ending of the third movie. The ending of the third movie, we saw Gabby fall into the underworld. Now, we saw Gabby, fall into, the underworld, and Sienna, obviously promising, to get her, out of hell. Um, Now, we know for a fact that Sienna went to hell and survived. So I think that there is a very, very strong possibility, that Gabby, is still alive. Because remember, I was going to say Silent Hill. Because remember in Terrifier 2, we saw Sienna, go to the underworld and survive. So it is very, very possible that for Gabby to make it, for Gabby to make it out alive. Um, and from what I understand, this movie is expected to come out next Halloween. Now, my final horror movie that I'm looking forward to next year, and I really don't have a lot of details on this right now, unfortunately, but however it just wrapped filming, I think like last week, um which is Evil Dead Burn. Now, I friggin' loved Evil Dead Rise. um I also really, really enjoyed the Evil Dead remake. um Now, Evil Dead Burn just wrapped filming again. I think it was last week that it wrapped filming. Um, and um, and and this movie is scheduled to come out July 24th, 2026. And the director is Sebastian Van. I'm probably gonna butcher this, but Sebastian Van Leck. Um, and this is serving as the third standalone entry after Evil Dead Rise. We don't have, um, unfortunately, we don't have any like plot details, unfortunately, or anything like that right now. um Sam Raimi is returning as producer for the movie, which would make sense because I mean Sam Raimi, him and Bruce Campbell, obviously, they own the franchise. So, but I am very, very much looking forward to, this movie. Again, I enjoyed the hell out of Evil Dead Rise. I think that's probably my favorite Evil Dead movie next to obviously, next to 2. Um but yeah, no, I am very, very excited for this movie. Um I might do a video. I might do another video at some point talking about Evil Dead Burn, like maybe like when the trailer drops or whatever, but beyond that we don't really have any other details on it right now. Like I said, it just wrapped filming. So that's really all I have at this time. But anyway, yeah, so that is what so those are my top 5 horror movies that I'm looking forward to in 2026. Obviously, I will be doing reviews on all of these when they come out. Um so let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Which movie are you most excited for? Happy Halloween. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will talk to you guys later. Peace.